Okay, so have you ever thought about getting paid to like be outside all the time and just be surrounded by nature
Yeah,
and share that love of adventure with other people?
yeah. Sounds pretty great.
It does. Well, that is exactly the life of an outdoor activities instructor.
It is.
And that's what we're going to deep dive into today.
Awesome.
So we're going to help you nail that interview.
Yeah, we're talking rock climbing, skiing, kayaking, all that good stuff.
Oh my God.
Helping people just like conquer these challenges and experience that thrill of being outdoors. I mean, it's more than just a job, right?
Right.
It's a passion.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So think of this deep dive as like your secret weapon.
Yeah.
We're going to break down all those common questions that you're going to get in an interview.
Okay.
We're going to give you insider tips on what the interviewers are really looking for.
Cool.
And we're going to show you how RoleCatcher can help you tailor your answers so you really stand out.
Sweet. So you're saying we pulled from like RoleCatcher's 3,000 plus career guides and 120,000 plus practice interview questions? We got all the best stuff to help you ace this thing.
Yeah, we did our homework.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so let's unpack this. First up, what does an outdoor activities instructor actually do?
So basically, you're orchestrating all these amazing outdoor experiences.
I love that.
Wait,
Orchestrating.
Yeah, so I mean, you're leading hikes, you're teaching people how to climb, how to do it safely, you're guiding canoe trips. All of this while making sure that everyone is safe and having fun and enjoying themselves. I mean, and you could be working with all kinds of people too, like school groups, summer camps. I've even done some corporate team building events.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's a mix of adventure, education, and leadership all in one.
Yep.
So he's sound like you.
Yeah.
What excites you most about this type of work? Take a second and really think about that.
Yeah.
Now let's dive into those interview questions.
Okay.
First up, describe your experience working with children in an outdoor setting.
All right, so here's the thing. They're not just asking if you've been a babysitter.
Okay.
They want to know if you can manage a group of kids, create activities that'll keep them engaged, and of course, always put safety first, you know? And we all know how unpredictable nature can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do we make an answer really stand out?
Well, you could use RoleCatcher's AI to analyze the job description, and it will actually highlight which skills they're looking for.
Ooh.
So, for example, like if they're looking for someone to teach environmental education, then you're going to want to highlight any experience you have in that.
So it's like having a personalized cheat sheet for the interview.
Exactly. And don't forget about the STAR method.
What's that?
Situation, task, action, result.
Okay.
So let's say you were a volunteer at a summer camp and you led nature hikes. Well, that's your situation. The task was to teach these kids about the local plants and animals in the area while keeping them safe. The action was you designed a scavenger hunt to make it fun and educational. And the result, you got a bunch of engaged kids, happy parents, and a successful hike.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
It really brings your experience to life,
Right.
and it showcases those skills.
Exactly.
Now, what if they ask you, how do you ensure that all participants have an enjoyable and safe experience? It seems like safety is a big thing.
Absolutely. Safety is huge. What they're looking for here is someone who is proactive, not reactive.
Okay.
So instead of just saying safety is important, like walk them through your process.
It's like how? What kinds of things would you mention?
Before I start any activity, I always do a risk assessment, considering like the weather, the terrain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like the group's abilities. Then I make sure that everyone knows about those risks. Like I communicate that clearly to everyone and make sure they know all the safety guidelines. And during the activity, I'm constantly monitoring, I'm adjusting the pace or the route if I need to, and I'm always offering support to anyone who needs a little extra help.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, we kind of debrief,
Okay.
discuss what went well and what we could do better next time.
So it's about having a system
Yeah,
and showing them that you're thinking about safety every step of the way.
right.
That's reassuring.
It is.
Now, how about adapting activities for people who have different skill levels?
Right.
Because not everyone's like an expert rock climber or whatever.
Totally. Yeah, inclusivity is key. Like, let's say you're leading a rock climbing session and you've got beginners and pros.
Right.
I would start the beginners off with basic techniques, offer encouragement, and for the experienced climbers, I'd challenge them with some harder routes, or maybe even have them mentor the beginners.
Ooh, that's smart.
Yeah,
It keeps everyone engaged and learning at their own pace.
exactly.
What about keeping them motivated? Because I know that even the most beautiful scenery can't prevent boredom sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. That's where being an inspiring leader comes in.
Okay.
I always try to think about incorporating games or challenges, maybe even a little friendly competition. Like, what if you had clues along a hiking trail that led to a secret waterfall? Or
Ooh,
had teams compete to build the best shelter or something?
that's a lot more exciting than just following a map.
Right.
Yeah. What if someone in the group is having like a bad day
Mm.
or they're just not cooperating? How do you deal with that?
First, I would listen.
Okay.
There's probably a reason why they're acting that way. Maybe they're having a hard time with the terrain or they're scared of something and they're not saying anything. Once you figure out what the problem is, then you can offer solutions like extra support or maybe even a modified activity. But if they're just totally disregarding the rules and they're putting other people in danger, then you might just have to remove them from the activity.
That's a tough call.
Yeah.
But safety always comes first.
It does.
Speaking of tough calls, what about those unexpected challenges that just pop up? Like, what if the canoe tips over during a trip?
First things first, stay calm. You got to assess the situation and follow all your emergency procedures. So, like, you check for injuries, make sure everyone is accounted for, and you start the appropriate rescue techniques. And, having a wilderness first responder certification,
Oh, yeah.
that could really come in handy in these situations.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It shows that you're prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws at you.
Exactly.
Now, this one might sting a little bit. How would you answer this question? Tell me about a time you made a mistake that had negative consequences.
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one. I think honesty and self-awareness is key.
Okay.
You want to choose a real example, but not like something catastrophic,
Yeah.
Like maybe you misjudged the weather or you didn't communicate a change in plans clearly enough. You want to focus on what you learned from the experience and how you've improved since then.
So it's about turning a negative into a positive,
Right.
showing that you're always learning.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit to something more aspirational. Where do you see yourself in 5 years in this field?
This is your chance to show them how ambitious you are. Think about what you're passionate about and what you might want to specialize in. Maybe it's rock climbing, wilderness survival, youth leadership, something like that. You can also mention any certifications you're going for or professional organizations you want to join.
So you're showing them that you're in it for the long haul,
Yeah,
that you're constantly looking for challenges and opportunities to grow.
exactly. And RoleCatcher can give you some great insights on career paths and professional development, specifically for outdoor activities instructors.
Okay, this is all great stuff.
Yeah.
But how does RoleCatcher's AI actually help us tailor our answers for specific job roles? I'm still a little fuzzy on that.
Okay, so it's like having this personalized interview prep team.
Yeah.
Let's say you're applying for this role and they're really into environmental education. RoleCatcher's AI can look at that job description and be like, hey, you should highlight those experiences you have, like teaching leave no trace principles, or maybe you led a trail cleanup project or something,
okay.
stuff like that.
So it like connects your skills with what they're looking for.
Right.
That's really cool. Okay, let's get back to those questions.
Okay.
What if they ask if you could design like your dream outdoor adventure program, what would it look like?
Oh, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
That's where you can really let your imagination run wild. This is about showing off your creativity, how you think about designing a program, and of course, your passion for the outdoors. Think about the values and skills you want people to take away from it, like leadership, resilience, environmental stewardship.
So it's more than just listing activities.
Right.
You're creating an experience
Exactly.
that has a purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. So what kind of activities would you include?
Well, maybe a multi-day backpacking trip through a national park.
Oh.
You combine like channeling hikes with workshops on wilderness skills, leave no trace ethics.
I like it.
Or maybe you do a rock climbing program where you teach people not only the technical skills, but how to work together, how to problem solve. I mean, there's so much you can do.
So you're like painting this picture with words,
Uh-huh.
and the interviewer is right there with you.
Exactly.
That's awesome. I bet you have some amazing stories from being an instructor.
Oh, I could talk for hours.
I bet.
But let's focus on getting you ready for that interview.
Right. Back to business.
Yeah.
What other challenging questions might they ask?
Okay, here's one that comes up a lot. Imagine you're leading a hike and you've got this one person who keeps ignoring your safety instructions and is putting themselves and others at risk. How would you handle that?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. You don't want to be a drill sergeant, but safety is so important.
Yeah, for sure. This is where your leadership skills and your ability to resolve conflict really come in. I think the key is to talk to them directly, but in a calm way. Pull them aside, remind them of the safety guidelines and explain why they matter. And not just for them, but for the whole group.
What if they have a reason for not following the rules? Like, what if they're having trouble with the terrain or they're scared of something and they're not saying it?
That's why it's so important to listen. Try to understand where they're coming from and offer some solutions. Like extra support or maybe a modified activity or even a different role within the group. But if they just keep ignoring the rules and putting everyone in danger, then you might have to remove them from the activity.
It's about finding a balance, right,
Yes.
between empathy and sticking to those safety standards.
Right.
Okay, what about dealing with a group that's just not feeling it? Maybe they're tired or they're just not meshing as a team.
So they want to see that you can motivate people even when things are tough. First, try to figure out what the problem is. Are they hungry, exhausted? Do they just not like the activity? Once you know what's going on, then you can figure out what to do.
So you're like a detective,
Yeah.
trying to solve the mystery.
Exactly. Maybe they just need a snack break and some encouragement. Or maybe you need to change up the activity, break it down into smaller steps. Or come up with some fun challenges.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to get creative
Right?
and be flexible.
Exactly.
Okay, what about those tell me about a time questions?
Oh, yeah.
Those are tricky. Like, how would you answer this? Tell me about a time when you had to make a difficult decision in the field.
Those are tough. But really what they're looking for is how you make decisions, how you solve problems, and how you handle pressure. Pick a story that shows your leadership, but be honest and humble about it.
So you're not bragging.
No.
You're just showing them how you handle things and what you learned.
Right. Maybe you had to change your plans because of bad weather, or adjust an activity for someone in the group, or maybe you had to deal with some conflict between people. Focus on the steps you took, why you made the decision you did, and what happened in the end.
It's all about showing that you can think on your feet and make good choices,
Yeah,
and that you put the group's safety and well-being first.
absolutely.
Okay, I'm starting to feel like I could answer any question they throw at me.
Good.
But before we finish up, I want to go back to RoleCatcher for a minute. You mentioned their AI can analyze job descriptions and help tailor our answers. Can you give me like a specific example of how that works?
Yeah, so let's say the job description says they're really big on environmental stewardship. RoleCatcher's AI might be like, hey, you should talk about those times you taught Leave No Trace principles. Or maybe like when you led that trail cleanup project.
Okay, so it helps you figure out how to make your answers really relevant to what they're looking for. That's really helpful. Okay, so beyond like the specific questions, are there any general tips for just making a good impression?
Oh, for sure. I think the most important thing is to just let your passion shine through.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
want to see that you're genuinely excited about being outdoors and sharing that love with other people.
It's not just about what you say, but how you say it.
Yes, bring that energy and enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And also do your research on the company or organization you're interviewing with. Make sure you understand their mission, their values, what kind of programs they offer. It shows that you're really interested in them specifically, not just any job in the outdoors.
It's like going to a party and knowing the host's favorite music.
Oh, I like that.
You're going to be a lot more likable.
Exactly. And don't forget about your body language. Make eye contact, smile, sit up straight, project that confidence and approachability.
Those little things can make a big difference.
Huge difference. First impressions are everything.
Yeah, you want to walk in that room like you already belong there.
Yeah.
Speaking of first impressions, RoleCatcher has this amazing AI tool that lets you practice your interview answers.
Oh, yeah.
You can record yourself answering questions, and then it'll give you feedback on like how you sound, your body language,
Yeah.
even your word choice,
It's like having your own personal interview coach.
right in your pocket.
Exactly.
It's a game changer. Okay, so we've talked about answering their questions, but what about asking them questions? Do we have some questions ready for the interviewer?
Oh, definitely. Asking good questions shows that you're engaged, that you're curious, and that you're really interested.
And it also gives you a chance to decide if it's the right fit for you.
Exactly.
Like, can you see yourself working there and being happy?
Yeah, it's a two-way street. You're
Yeah.
both trying to figure out if it's a good match.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, I have to ask, what's like one piece of advice that really stuck with you from RoleCatcher's career guides?
It's something we've talked about a lot today, but it's worth repeating. In this field, you have to keep learning. It's not just about getting the job. It's about staying passionate, learning new skills, and growing along with the people you're teaching.
So keep learning,
Yes.
stay curious,
Yes.
and never stop exploring.
That's it.
I love it. Well, to everyone listening, go out there, embrace the adventure, and good luck on your journey to becoming an outdoor activities instructor. And don't forget to check out RoleCatcher. It's your ultimate guide to figuring out your dream career path. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.